the official page of Radio Caribbean International, and you can get to view the program live via this means. Of course, this morning, like I mentioned, we have Miss Daniel. Miss Daniel is no stranger, not just to Compre students, because it's apparent Miss Daniel is quite a busy one. she dabbles in a lot. Oh my God, she bring me a nice little thing. Oh gosh, you see how she does do? You see what she does, right? Oh God, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. Now, this is beautiful. Proverbs at its best. I love it. Thank you so much. Right, so Miss Daniel is already kicking off on a good note. So we're going to have that conversation this morning, and I think it's very vital, and this is exactly what this program was created to do. This program was created to ensure that, we create that platform where we can inspire others through the journey of others. Because we have movers and shakers right amongst our means who are doing it. They have done it. They are continuing to do it. They are showing that it's doable. And sometimes, we might just be out there and, we stuck and trying to find some little, some little veil of hope, because, life could be throwing us around sometimes, and, you just needed to hear that little story, that little journey, that little person. You just say, okay, this lady is doing it. Or sometimes we look at them and we think they got it made, and we don't understand that, hey, no, they probably have challenges or had gone through challenges just like we are going through, because it's human to have those, So sometimes it's good to remind you that, hey, you're not alone on this walk. You're not alone in this journey, right? So that being said, we've got to say thank you to our partners. That's the First National Bank, thank you, and also to Court St. Lucia. So let's take a word from them, and when we come back, we start our conversation with Miss Daniel.
It's the Quartz Optical Annual Frame Event. Get up to 85% off on selected frames. Book your appointment at www.quartzoptical.com. Get that frame today with no cash from 3 to 24-month credit plans. You don't want to miss it. The Annual Frame Event, up to 85% off, only at Quartz Optical. See in store for details. Quartz Optical, value you can see.
Your home is a haven of comfort and memories, and at First National Bank, we understand the emotional and financial investment it represents. That's why our home insurance policies offered to our mortgage loan customers through our trusted partners are designed to be both comprehensive and financially considerate. These policies cover a myriad of events, from natural disasters to burglary and theft, offering you the best protection without the stress of high costs. We are committed to providing a sense of security that extends beyond the physical aspects of your home. Our goal is to ensure that every customer has the peace of mind that comes with knowing that their home is well protected without the pressure of overwhelming insurance costs. With First National Bank, safeguarding your home is not just affordable, it's a reflection of our commitment to your well-being and financial peace of mind. First National Bank, here for you.
Right, so I'm scooting around a little bit because it is that time to start this amazing conversation with this wonderful woman who we all know, well, most of us have been exposed to, but sometimes even then, we don't know the real story. So, Miss Daniel, thank you so much for saying yes. I think I had approached you before on this, but it was not the right time. I think you were in a transition period and you said, no, I don't want to do this now. So I'm happy to have you. Let me just push this a little closer to you. So I'm happy to have you back now, and an opportune time as well, because 50 years Compre celebrating, so I think it's a perfect time to have you as the head of that institution in here this morning.
I am still amazed at the decision to actually migrate from private sector to this one institution in St. Lucia, where I have spent the most of my adult life.
Yeah.
So I just thank God for placing me in places that I still wonder why, but always, as we have shared this morning, just rely on His strength and His might to bring us to the point where He needs us to be.
Wonderful.
We never know why. We sometimes we figure it out in our lifetime, but I think ultimately it's a journey that we just have to trust him on.
Yeah, have just to be open to serve
Yes.
and go where he leads. Miss Danielle, I like to wire it back down a bit because this is who we know,
Yes,
that
yes,
body
yes,
here. But
yes,
this
yes.
didn't all start there.
No.
We want to go back to your birthing years. We want to go back to your child. We're taking you
Yes.
back there, you know.
Yeah, no problem.
Sentimentally, we're bringing you right
Very
back to
proud of it.
childhood. Where were you? Where did you
Yes.
grow up? What kind of household? What were some of the principles that you think molded you in the person you are today?
I am the first girl of Marie Leota Daniel Nee Seeley, who is the second daughter of Josephine Seeley, our matriarch, who passed away a year and a half ago at 102.
Wow.
Yeah, my grandma, Josephine Seeley, Ma Rodney from Gara, Babano. And so I was raised on almost 13 acres of land, able to do almost everything in agriculture. We were all gifted with the knowledge of how to grow and cultivate cassava. So we made farine. We were taught how to make bread from scratch. On a Saturday, it included not only going to Chassin, where my grandmother first lived, because originally my grandmother lived in Chassin with the family. My grandfather, my maternal grandfather, is actually Altis, Rodney Seeley, who is the son of Altis, who's also from the Seeley tribe. And so we have very strong African roots coming out of Foasso Chassé. And my maternal grandmother is pure Carib. And yes, pure Carib. So my grandmother Dorsey from Gara is one of the original persons from Gara, which is also a very large family. So you have the Gilbert, the Man, the Cade family from that area. And we say Gilbert, but it's actually because she is not just Carib, but she also has French heritage, you know. And so the ancestors are large and far apart. My paternal grandparents are actually from Choiseul, Dequite, and so my dad's grandfather is actually of Spanish descent, and his mom, that's my paternal grandmother, is from Moshi. She's from Labon. So Mayuton is my grandmother from Moshi, and she's a Jacob, and she too has French ancestors. So, I can't give credit to one.
Yes.
I have so many people I can remember as a child visiting with my parents who I can refer to as persons from various parts of the world, you know. So this was us, our family, a very nuclear family. We had mommy and daddy who worked very hard. My father worked at Hess at the time. My mom was a school teacher. And at that time, my mommy was very fertile and very productive. So I was just a year and a month younger than my first sibling. And shortly after, mommy had Guyan, who died at 9 months. So my brother after me died, you know. And then there was Glory, who's my sister, who lives in Deriso. So there were the 4 Gs. Right. So Gary, Gail, Guyan, and Glory. These were the 4 of us. Right. And then afterwards, when Guyan died, Daddy felt, you know, that should be it. But then being Catholic, I guess, things continued to happen. And the other 3 came. So we had Danny, Ali, and Jenny. And 14 years later, Carrie. So I'm from a very large family. Yeah. And the reason why we did not bond with people outside of the household is because the family was very large. My grandmother raised my cousins who were born in England and the US. So there was always a large group of us in the yard, as you'd say. Right. So we learned to climb every single tree. In fact, we competed, and the boys would have nothing on us. Rainy days was seeing who could dive into the rivers the most, and down to Bogies we would go from where we lived below the cemetery in Gara, put on our boots, killing frogs along the way and going down into the rivers, you know, and meeting up with the children. We always entertained our own selves. We did everything. We read the newspaper because mommy was a strict educator, ensured that we did our assignments and so on. But we always found time to play. We read together. We were racing to read all of the Nancy Drew books and all Enid Blyton books. You know, we also helped with, as we said, the farming. So we knew how to do copra. We knew how to do farine. we helped Mama with sewing because she was a seamstress, although she was the paymaster for all the banana farmers in the Babonneau area. So she would walk all over Babonneau paying persons when the time was needed to do that. And I, being the first girl, saw myself taking the role of first child because my brother before me was a little delinquent. Well, to a large extent, he felt that he should have been the only one. And, oh yes, he was extremely deviant and found himself running away from home at 14 years.
Aye.
In fact, my very first awareness that I had to be in charge of the family was when my mom made this decision to transfer Gary, who was at a Castries-based secondary school, and to place both of us at the Corinth Secondary School because the transportation from our home was set, it was organized, and it was easier to take both of us from home, deposit us to the school, and ensure that Gary was back at home as he should be. So mommy's questions most times would be, was Gary at school all day? Did Gary come back home? It was mainly Gary. Gary was a center of attraction in terms of the focus because of his disposition in thinking that, you know, he was being sidelined by all of these children who came after him who should not have been. And I felt as a teen, I felt that I was the sacrificial lamb. And I hated it. Right. I felt that at any point I should just disappear. And the spray planes, the St. Lucia Banana Association used to have these planes passing around. Yes. And I would scream out because the children said that the guys flying the plane, the pilots, had a special ladder. And if you screamed and waved them, they would send a ladder down and you'd go up. They would take you up.
Satan, so.
So I always felt, you know, I heard about aliens and I felt at some point somebody would take me out of here, you know. And I hated it. I didn't want to go to anywhere else but out of St. Lucia.
Really?
I hated it. But I
how
was obedient.
How did that emotion last?
I think when the missionaries from the U.S. visited St. Lucia in 83, 84, I made friends with these beautiful people, and I felt at that time that's where I found myself.
Right.
They invited me to the Castries Evangelical Church, and I think that was one of the most deviant things I did, apart from not wanting to write common middle exam, apart from not wanting to go to any other place but out of St. Lucia. They invited me and became part of my life. And I think that's where I found Jesus. I found the meaning of me being his child and being special. And I think my mom, to a large extent, felt that I had backslided from the Catholic Church.
Right.
I don't think many people knew that. You know, that's how mommy felt. And I was happy for the first time I felt in a long time. And I learned so much. I learned to study the Bible. I learned scriptural verses and songs that I had never learned before. I saw Jesus in a new and different way. And although when they left, I felt that I had converted to some extent. I returned to where I belong. Not belonged, belong. I returned to the Catholic Church with more fervor and vigor to allow young people to experience what I felt and what I became at that time. I was very instrumental in the youth group at the time. I was actually one of the founding members of the National Youth Council when we met in Suffren in 1985 and developed this really interesting body of young persons who would drive activities and making statements for young people's space and place in St. Lucia. So with Honorable Mario Michel, Ernest Hilaire, Marius Wilson to a large extent, Edward Innocent, and Deacon Favre. These are some of the names I remember as our big brothers and sisters. Lilia, Chalo, who just passed away. You know, these are persons who were so instrumental in allowing me to see that we had a place in St. Lucia to make a difference.
No, I'm listening to you, not to cut. I could let you go on because it's just so interesting. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, this is a new angle I didn't know of.
Yeah.
And I'm picking up a lot here. I'm thinking I'm picking up a lot, as with my listeners. So you are basically a little rebel.
Yeah, a little rebel.
Yeah,
yes.
but were you understanding it? Because of course back then people would have think you were just being rude, and they would cast you out like that because you know you could not be that. But you were finding yourself and your purpose Do you understand it from that standpoint
I
now?
think so. I think I was accepting that there was a bigger message in what was happening to me, and to a large extent, the mindfulness of my journey started to transform me in, not making what I could have been define what I was now.
Right.
Because at every stage of my primary life, in every grade that I went to, I was in the top 3. I was not a dull student. But I wasn't one who would be necessarily seen or heard. But if I had to be, I would.
Right.
For example, in 1979,
You would question stuff.
yes,
if it didn't make
I
sense.
would, and
Right.
I was respectful enough to not do so in a manner that would deem me as, as you said, defiant per se, but somebody inquisitive, curious
Yes.
enough to want to know,
Yes.
sufficient to make informed decisions.
That's right.
I was a Red Indian at the Independence rally when all the primary school in 79 when we became independent. I can still remember that day. I always felt I should be involved, and make added value engagements wherever I was, and I felt to a large extent that I did in my community. I was a Red Crosser very early when our Red Cross building was built. Unveiling the plaque, I was the one chosen to give the Queen the shovel and the trowel
Right.
to do that. So I think I to some extent I made my contributions from a very, very early age.
And still
you know,
continuing
and,
to
and,
this
and
day.
continue
So
to.
let's come back. Let's fast forward now to up here. Half an hour does go by so fast.
Yeah,
we
I
need
know.
more time with you.
God, yes.
But fast forward to where we are now. You have gone on now. You were first a teacher. Did you go to the Catholic?
No, I didn't. Actually, I as I said earlier, I attended the current junior sec.
Mm-hmm.
There was
yes, you did say that.
a
Right.
junior sec, and the plan was that I would migrate. But then after a while, Dr. Louis was the one who said to Mommy, let her do a short course. And then I migrated to South Louis. I was awarded the most outstanding student of my group at that time in 1989. And I worked with Minville and Chasney, first with Mr. Winston Taylor, Deacon Winston Taylor. And afterwards, I returned after every term ended to do some form of internship during
Right.
every break. So when I completed my South Louis training, there was absolutely no doubt that MNC saw the value in having Marva Daniel. So I was
Right.
called to take up my position at Minville and Chasney. Actually, our class we were in Martinique on vacation after we've completed our program. We took a week off studies and everything, and we went off. Persons like Leon Theodore, Priscilla Jeremy, Urella Jeremy. These are some of my classmates, Tara Montplaisy, Dolores Daniel. So we went off, Lindell Gustav. We went off to Martinique, and Mommy called him that. The Minville and Chasney called Home Depot, and I went off to work with them. Mr. Jennings Clark, Dr. Deacon Winston Taylor. These are some of the names I remember. And very shortly after, about a month and a half, there was an opening at Bryden and Partners. Some of the young people wouldn't remember. And I went off to serve as a secretary of Mr. Peter DeVoe. And whilst I was there, I realized I was dying.
Right.
My personality didn't lend itself to me being cooped up in an office.
Right.
And so when Mr. Ephraim, my former accounts teacher, pulled up on the side of the road where I was waiting for a vehicle to go home, he said, Mama, you ever thought of reconsidering? But I always said I hated being a teacher. And I said to Mommy, if I ever become a teacher, I am not getting married. I am not having children, because I feel that teachers extend and expend themselves so much that their children themselves are actually sacrificed along the way. And to some extent, I wouldn't want to say just neglected, but I feel that Mommy came home tired every day. First she taught at Bogies, then at Debawa as principal. And when Mommy got home, there was not enough time for us. And I always felt my mom, my cousins, my uncles, so many of them in the family were teachers, and I saw what that meant. So I said no. So Mr. Ephraim knew, and I said, sir, right now it could be janitorial, it could be anything. I'm getting out of here. So I decided to take on that post, replace Beryl Skeet Felician at the time, And when I proposed to Mr. DeVoe my resignation, he said, "Are you crazy?" I said, "Yes, I think that's what I need to do." So I left Bryden and Partners and moved over to CCSS in October of 1989. And there the journey began.
History. The rest is history. But no, I want to tap into that now. The fact that you felt you mentioned something. You said the fact that you the children you were in Bryden's and you were feeling that you were being stifled.
Yes.
Do you think that now gives you now in charge of a lot of students who are trying to find their way, they are going out into the real world. CCSS being the holistic school that it is, which don't just push you to get into an office, but it like build you holistically so you can survive whether it's trade
Anywhere.
or anywhere. Do you think that gives you an advantage because you experience that, so you could now guide your children and have an appreciation that you don't just push them in one direction, and have an appreciation that they could have different desires and feel the need to be different?
This has been my mantra. As a teacher, I've always sold to my colleagues and to my teachers now that your classroom has no walls. Once we begin to think of that, we know that we need to marry the content with what's happening in industry. Right now, as we speak, the alumni has organized with us a karate. They started last year. And even before that, when I came into CCSS, we had the work-study program. So every Form 4 student during the summer went off to somewhere where we matched their abilities with those workplaces that they were sent to and assessed at the end. So there was an evaluation form that accompanied the letter welcoming the students to these institutions. Upon return, we would evaluate. These students actually got a mark for these evaluations. And what happened, unfortunately, fortunately too, because more persons were able to benefit, the government introduced the summer employment program. So when we continued writing to certain firms, they said no, they can't because they've already committed to the government's program. So we actually considered doing it at another time, like Christmas or even during the Easter. But with CXC transforming into what it is now, the focus on finishing SBAs, even from Form 4 to Form 5, it's really a task and a challenge. But I mandated that every teacher find a way to expose the students to the real world. So field trips have to be part of your planning. In Form 2, we do what we call in the business department, Introduction to Business Education. And at some point, the students actually have to dress up as the person they would like to be. And into the careers that they are migrating to, we try to immerse that with persons either coming in or they themselves going out. The auto shop, for example, we have twinned with a number of garages where the children spend time with those persons to actually utilize those skills and knowledge and whatever else. And the attitudes, so important that they need to be able to transfer all of these forms of education into what is needed within the real world. Very, very important. And I think you would have heard that the government has actually started an immersion program. So the subject teachers themselves are actually part of this. So during the summer, they've been placed within institutions where they can be trained further in industry and within industrial locations or settings where they themselves can experience what industry expects. So when a teacher teaches at CCSS, it should not be something theoretical. The teacher, him or herself, should be able to identify what lacks from the curriculum, from the syllabus, from the textbook, and be able to extend what is taught beyond that resource and be themselves the resource that the children need. For example, I speak of Mrs. Kodra all the time. She has realized and she has bought into this. And so we would find so many of the chefs over a wide section of our hospitality industry coming in. Kudos to Big Chef. They actually bought into this program. And the last time the restaurant opened, Big chefs came into the school with all of what they could offer us. And the students who do food preparation and restaurant service, this is a CVQ program. these students run the restaurant. And this was one of our anniversary activities leading up to the 50s that we did last year.
Right.
We also see Sandals. I'm sure you saw the news. Sandals chef and I think the pastry chef and the head chef, they came in last week and they taught the students about plating. So we try our best. It's not easy because these people are working during the day and they take time off their busy schedules and they come in to show our students what is needed.
Right.
So it's really priceless.
Right. You now, from your standpoint, we're going to tap in a little bit also some of your activity because I know you want to get the opportunity to, you need that, of course, to just plug yourself a little bit there. We're going to give you that in a minute. But let's talk to you now. You have no kids.
No, I don't have any.
So did you really follow through with that? Was that the follow through, or
it just never happened for a number of reasons. I have some medical issues.
Okay.
I've been through a number of medical journeys, unfortunately, and it just happened. That's how it is now.
Do you find comfort the fact that you don't have kids?
I used to
find
think
comfort now that you have a body of children now, so you have children.
I do, and I have lots of nieces and nephews. I'm actually a foster parent to one of them.
Okay.
Because my deceased brother, the first one, he died at 43.
Okay.
So both brothers on either sides, the one before me and the one after me, have actually passed away. And he left two beautiful young ladies. One is in Form 3 at Corinth Secondary, and the other one is actually working now. Daniela graduated from CCSS.
Right.
And you should meet Daniela. I think you'd love her too. So she lived with us and until she returned to her mom's, a year and a half ago. So we do our best to keep our family together. So there is, that close-knit amongst us mommy's children that, we look after each other as much as we could.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you generally, we go talk about CCSF after, we just run down the thing, but in generally wrapping up the actual She Speaks program, what would you say to persons, inspiring wise, based on your journey through life, you keep busy. There's a lot of things that we didn't even tap into that you're engaged in, apiculture, you do that. So you're stuck with the farming, the agriculture part of things, and you're now engaged in apiculture. You're now engaged in so many other non-profit organizations.
Definitely.
Where you lend your support as well. Church groups and other like.
Yes.
You're on a lot of the bodies and boards, education boards, not just in St. Lucia, regionally as well. So
Yes.
you've extended yourself a lot and you do a lot. And sometimes, you hear people say, oh boy, it's a lot, and people complain. We have people that complain, and you know what? But how are you able to do all of that meaningfully, contribute? And you're here, you're doing it, it's doable. So, inspire someone or probably give them a shake up. Hey, it's doable. So, get up and take that approach.
I think if we don't give of ourselves, we won't realize to what extent we've been blessed. And the journey is always not thinking that we are challenged beyond what God knows we're capable of doing. And, just giving it our all. We'll never always do it perfectly. And when we err, we take a step back and reflect and see how we can make amends. But I was raised in a family where everybody was giving to St. Lucia some part of themselves. So it's never been something new for me, I was raised in a household where mommy, for example, my mom she was not just a teacher. Mommy was in charge of Mothers and Fathers Group, the Death Levy in Babonneau, disaster preparedness. She was a youth director for Red Cross. She was in charge of when we did the re-registration and the new ID card came in. She was in charge of the Babonneau region. Mommy also served as a JP first, and now me.
So
So
maybe we should be speaking. Maybe from your standpoint, now your inspiration should be coming from as a principal.
I think so.
Should be coming from the angle of parents and how it is that they and how they formulate their life and how it can affect their children.
Yes,
influence.
It can influence us. I think every single one of my siblings, all of us are involved in some way, whether it's community church or at work, nation, for the nation, building nation. We have For example, my sister is a consultant. She works with equity and currently training a number of persons to help with the various programs that this department actually has created. My sister Glory is in Derry, so she works with her church, Seventh Adventist Church, and my brother Derek, who is an auto teacher at Viewford Comprehensive, he's just been promoted at some rank in the cadet corps, so he's very actively involved.
Active as well.
Very
Wow.
active involved.
This is amazing. Miss Danielle, you stay right there. We're just wrapping up She Speaks, and then, of course, we are going to talk about, we need to give you that opportunity. So let's just wrap up She Speaks, and separately, we're going to talk about the activities first for the
Oh, yes,
the
definitely.
50th. So
Yes,
I'm going to give
yeah.
you that opportunity. I'm sure they wouldn't mind. Right. So that's She Speak for today, guys. Thank you, Miss Danielle, so much. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank
No
you for sharing
problem.
parts of you that we didn't know, and so willingly.
So many more, yes.
Yeah, I like this. I appreciate that. Thank you, and thank you for your service, your continued service to our young ones at the helm of the CCSS, certainly, and the other bodies that you're representing in
Thank you.
as well. And thank you for sharing with us. Now, guys, join us again next Tuesday. We will be here again, doing it all over again for with another amazing St. Lucian person who's going to be sharing their story as well. So that She Speaks. Thank you to Courts and the First National Bank. It is also 2 minutes after 11, and that time check is brought to you by Giant Malt. So we paying our bills to a little bit, and then we coming back. When we come back, we have to talk to Ms. Daniel about what CCSS is putting on for the 50th anniversary, because a lot is happening, and this is
And
the
has
week,
happened.
and has happened, and this week is a lot going down. So we have to refresh you guys a bit. Let's take a word, and we coming back.
John Shoppers, get ready for sweet savings at Courts. For the next 3 days, you can shop now, pay nothing down, and your first payment isn't until April. Now that's a deal you don't want to miss. We've got incredible discounts waiting for you. Enjoy up to 40% off on select appliances, furniture, mattresses, televisions, and more. And with Courts Ready Finance, you pay absolutely nothing until April. It's a deal so sweet, it's hard to resist. Indulge in the joy of savings at Courts. But this fantastic deal won't last forever. Promotion ends on February 29th, 2024. Special conditions apply. Courts, bringing value home.
Understanding the financial impact of job loss, First National Bank offers job loss insurance, specially designed to provide our customers support during such uncertain times. In the event you lose your job, coverage provides a financial cushion, easing your worries while helping you navigate career transitions. This coverage ensures that a job loss doesn't have to mean a financial crisis, providing you with the support that you need when you need it most. We are committed to standing by our customers in all of life's ups and downs. Our job loss insurance is more than just a policy. It's a promise of support, offering peace of mind and financial stability, ensuring that you can face career challenges without the added burden of financial stress. First National Bank, here for you.
This is the Caribbean Sound. Radio Caribbean International. #1.
Enjoy the refreshing taste of Giant Malt. Giant Malt is non-alcoholic with a flavorsome malty richness. Everyone's drinking it. Drink Giant Malt at work, at school, or at play. Have a Giant Malt at any time with family or friends. Giant Malt for minds and muscles. Available at supermarkets island-wide. Agents in St. Lucia, Blue Waters.
Well, like I promised, Miss Danielle is still here. We're 5 minutes now after 11 o'clock. Thank you, Giant Malt. Grab yourself one today. Energize yourself with a Giant Malt. You can do that, certainly. And the kids can have it. So there you go. A drink for the family. Right. Miss Danielle, I promised you that. And I think I owe myself that. I owe the CCSS alumni, present student and past student that as well. You know, we always create a platform here at RCI where we create, because this is important. You know, the school, we got to create that stir. You know, we got to get more excited. Past students getting involved. The convent normally does it. The St. Mary's does it. The Compre does it full time as well. So we want to encourage more of that. You know, where people who have gone through these alma maters understand and still create that connection back with it, because
Very
that
important.
is vital.
Yes,
Yeah,
very
that is
important.
vital. You know, so many people have gone on to become creatives that can assist
Yes,
back, because their
that's right.
their roles that they play now they can lend a hand
That's
to some of
extremely
the children.
important.
Right. So CCS is celebrating their 50th anniversary. You've been there for like, about 35 years after that.
Yes.
No, mind you, Miss Daniel don't look anything like that. Miss Daniel looking like 16, you know. So certainly,
Yes,
what
can you
a-
imagine that?
Yes,
35
years
of
of
CCS's
50.
50 years.
Listen, man, you had nowhere to go.
Jesus Christ.
Certainly.
Yes.
But they're celebrating this 50th anniversary. Of course, they've got a very vibrant alumni.
Yes.
Joanne and her team and James and the likes. They've been doing an amazing job coming on board to assist with that as well. And I'm sure that's welcome by you.
Very
So
much
tell me about, well, a lot of things have been happening to the leader.
And you would know.
I know, because I dare the thing.
Yes,
So we coming down to the final few bits, and
Yes.
there's a few things on the card. We just like to throw it out. A lot of people get excited about roll call. I am on roll call, so I'm excited about that. You know, so roll call is coming up on this Saturday. There's a back in time. The class of 70 something is putting on.
There are actually two groups. We do have the past students from the 1970s who have formulated this wonderful concept of the formative years coming together, and so they have organized a number of activities to assist with pet projects at the school.
Nice.
So next Friday evening they do have a back in time.
Right.
I've never been to a back in time, you know, so hopefully it will be my first. But they're trying to also organize a number of other activities. Well, they have organized. They're recognizing all of the deceased members of those years, the first few years, and they're placing in auditorium something significant that will be unveiled during that same week. So hopefully persons would hear, because I'm sure the media will cover.
Nice.
The Global Alumni, which of course is the brainchild of our past students who you now see very actively involved. Global Alumni's Facebook page actually started decades ago. So if persons look at the origin of this website, they would see that this young lady, Miss Kadas, she was the one who came up with that idea with me as the vice principal at the time. And we said, yes, that would give a platform where past students can reunite and see what's happening at the school and give back. So it's nothing new. What is new is it's more organized, where past students have now an association which is more defined. And so the activities that are organized by this body can be more transparent and of course more supported.
Yes.
So we do have over the years a number of past students who individually or in small groups give back. For example, class of 1985,
Right.
class of 88, 87, 88, you know, even 79, 80, and individuals themselves who have come because they don't like the limelight and given to students directly. And it's always been transparent, where persons come in or they call in and they give to our students or to the school. So this year we have, for example, last year you would have seen the Global Alumni coming with, amalgamating their efforts with the school and, really a burst of energy through the president, of course. And we have had the walks, we've had the career days, we've had the homecoming, we've had the career day, which is repeated again today. And something new is happening tomorrow. We have a history quiz called the Brain Bowl. So CCSS students versus alumni, with questions about CCSS, St. Lucia, the Caribbean, and of course the diaspora. So we have a number of questions that will be thrown at them to see who's going to emerge a winner.
Oh, this is nice.
This is going to happen. On Thursday, the school's annual award ceremony, with anniversary being the main theme, we are going to be giving to the different persons, stakeholders, not just students, teachers and ancillary staff, and non-staff of CCSS who are actually at the school. For example, we have Miss Maggie, who is Mary and Sherry. She worked first as a janitor and then started selling in her little cooler behind the fence, and now in the tuck shop.
That's right.
So entrepreneurism at its best. And so Miss Sherry will be given a special recognition tomorrow. We have persons who have been at CCSS for so long. We have Wayne Cato, a groundsman who's been there from the 1980s. You know, we have staff members who are still with us, like Noelis Edgar, Priscilla Kodra, two of those who came and found me. I'm actually the only person left on the teaching staff at CCSS, you know, who nobody else met, you know, who met nobody else on the teaching staff. So everybody else who's teaching met me at CCSS.
Right.
You know, so all of these are happening. The alumni actually has the list of activities on their page. So anybody listening who's a past student who would like to be part of it, please just log on to the Global Alumni page on Facebook and you will see all of the activities. Roll call is actually a rebranded activity which the PTA started as Reunion Night.
Right.
So from 2011, 2012, the PGTA had this as their main source of income, helping with the various projects at the school. And let me tell you, when this thing started, there was no room for a program that night. Persons were so excited.
Yes.
And we see that coming back, you know, through the roll call night. And past students are coming in various forms. In school, full school uniform.
That's right.
In House Awareness shirt, which they can get at the school. The House Awareness shirt is $60. And all funds from House Awareness sales go straight to the sports program, which, of course, is so essential. Right now, we are trying our best to go into semifinals. We are playing our last tournament for the season against St. Mary's volleyball. So if you're on your way, please head to the VG Sports Complex and see what we're doing to the Sumerians.
Wonderful. All right. Ms. Daniel, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I'll see you for some of the activities. Roll call for definitely on Saturday. I'll be there. So you know what? Continue to do your thing and big up to the CCSS.
And thank you,
alumni.
parent, Mareen, and one of our biggest supporters.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Wonderful. You guys did a great job with the kids, innit? All right. We pay some bills. Hyper D is taking over next, and that's our time. I'll be back at 2 o'clock with my DJ. Stay locked up.
Click or tap. Order now and get that. Everything in stock, we have that.